Yesterday, with our victories over Dignitas and LMQ, we secured our spot in playoffs.
And here comes Voyboy. He finds a third. That's the fourth. And now only Crumbs up to live.
One down for Curse. You can see how much it means to Voyboy there. That was a huge step for them.
然后，如果昨天的比赛赢了的话，我们就可以第一。
The power play inside LMQ's base, and they just make this one look so clean.
Curse, with this win, will clinch a playoff spot.
今天我们要拿下这2场比赛。
Today, if we win, we get to secure our top 2 place for playoffs, so we really want to win.
This one is basically for all the marbles.
High goes in, explodes Wild Turtle, gets Lust Boy as well. They got 2! Sneakers around the show. They get out of the early game. They crush the bot lane 2v2.
They are almost guaranteed top 2 here.
所以很多东西都是未知数的。
Welcome to the final day of the North American LCS Summer Split. We've got a packed house here in Los Angeles as teams make their final stand. To help preview today's action, we've assembled a team of league aficionados here at the analyst desk. Hello, I'm James Dash Patterson, and with me are Joshua Jat Leesman and Aiden Zyrene Moon. Gentlemen, it's the beginning of the end.
Of the regular season. I mean, at least we got the playoffs coming after this. Let's just not get crazy here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, given that it is the last day of the regular season, and it's probably a good time to give pause and reflect on what has been the most competitive split we've seen in NALCS history. It took 106 games to lock in our 6 playoff teams, and coming into the final day, all 8 teams are stacked within 9 games of each other.
It's been a really wild ride. I mean, a lot of these teams kind of had to find themselves during the split. I'd say from top to bottom, if you take the collective strength of the league, it's never been stronger, even if the top teams have shown a bit of struggles. I think the best example of that is the fact that we have Curse sitting in 6th. And I personally feel like they may be stronger than they've ever been in this team, but they're forever 4th. So how are they 6th? I don't know.
They could still get to 4th.
Yeah.
There's still a contingency there where they could do that. But a big part of this league is that almost all the teams and the majority of the teams have actually spent some time at the top because they innovated and made a definitive style for that team, and then everybody else went through adaptations. I think the fact that our league is extremely diverse, too, in terms of play style and even regional diversity. We have Chinese players, we have Korean players, we have European players here. This big melting pot has actually just upped all of North America's game as a whole. I think Worlds going to be extremely fun this year.
Well, we still have those 3 teams, LMQ, C9, and TSM, all vying for that first round bye. How important is it for these teams?
When you get a first round bye, you avoid that first stage and you're automatically in the top 4, and 3 of those teams make it to Worlds of the top 4. And also a big part of that as well is that it's best of 5s. You don't have to play in that first round, and you get more prep time for less opponents. So a lot more strategizing going on.
Obviously, a bye is always important, but I just feel because 3 through 6th or even 2 through 6 doesn't have a huge drop-off in strength, the bye is just even more important. If you're talking about avoiding a first-round matchup against either Dignitas, CLG, which could still happen, or even Team Curse, you need to have that bye if you actually want a good chance of going to Worlds.
Well, of those 6 playoff teams, not a single one has secured a seed. There's still a lot of movement that can occur between them, so today should be an exciting day. But for now, let's click over to Twitter and see what has impressed you from our action this week with the hashtag LCS Big Plays. Our first comes from CLG versus Complexity at Roof23. The ADC says, oh my god, the Hotshot GG ult flash lantern grab to stay alive. Solo queue prowess shines true. Let's take a look at number 4.
With all the knowledge he has with this game right here. Hotshot, though, gets the passive, or the ult on himself as he gets caught.
There's the hit.
He
A lot of
is
focus.
still in a pretty bad spot. Oh, no!
My word! The Thresh Express monthly pass.
He flashed onto the lantern to avoid getting CC'd as he res, so and not clicking on it.
I mean, upon watching that again, it seems like Hotshot walked past the lantern and then flashed back for it, but it looked pretty damn impressive in the moment.
Hey, it said solo queue prowess. Nobody clicks the lantern in solo queue.
Yeah. Oopsie, but I'll make a flashy play to get back into it. Next up, the roaming support from TSM versus Dig at Jensen10 says Kiwi Kid is essentially Batman. Here's your number 3.
Cutie Pie is continually just using his ultimate on creep waves. Oh, that was so sick. Watch this. He starts the wind up. It catches the little wraith. See you later. Bye-bye.
So good.
Kiwi kid.
There's nothing that we can say after that. Then from Curse versus LMQ, we get a lesson in LCS mind games, courtesy of Voyboy. At Dylan the Villain says, fake recall into Free Baron was insane. Best play of Super Week, hands down. Well, not quite. It's your number 2.
They faked a recall over a ward that they were sweeping right there to make LMQ seem a little bit more confident. Check this out. So they were sweeping. They killed the ward. They thought they were just killing the ward so Voyboy could recall. That is a Baron, looks like, for Curse coming up. Wow.
It's LMQ that's the team that does the early Dragon's Jab.
19-minute Baron. No. Riv, this was a really well-orchestrated mind game by Curse. That's a pretty good highlight montage. I like the fact that A. Ackerman did the hide and brush strat for the mind game thing. And also I learned that after you attack a ward that's being killed, obviously with the sweeper on it, you get vision of the person who killed it for a few seconds, which is how Voyboy could pull off that whole recall bait in the first place.
It's a brilliant strategy.
And made infinitely better by the background music.
Yes.
I have to say. And our last tweet comes from CLG versus Complexity. At Ghost Raccoon writes, Think Card doing the work. InSec of NA has arrived at the Summoner's Rift. Let's roll your number 1.
As long as they keep vision of CLG, they know they can't hit that blue pill, and they have to stay in. Oh, the flash! Robert X Lee hitting up Bubba Dub. They actually get the double knockup. What a play for CLG to keep going on this one.
The Q to ward jump to flash to get super range on Robert X Lee creates that kill. Pop down Robert, hotshot gets the kill. Real nice. Dexter had a really nice Lee Sin kick early on in the year too, so I mean, Thinkcar is just carrying on the tradition right there from CLG Lee Sins.
And I love that he was comfortable enough to pull that out, to pull out the mechanics like that on the LCS stage, being so new. And that's really awesome to see. Now remember to keep your eyes peeled for more of those red letter plays and share them by tweeting at LOL Esports and using the hashtag LCS Big Plays. Now for the brass tacks, though, let's pull up the standings to see how the teams are lined up. In first, it's LMQ with Cloud9 hot on their heels.
And TSM is in third place with CLG and Dignitas tied for fourth, but just one game back. In sixth, it is Curse.
And rounding out the standings, it's Complexity in seventh and EG in last. But of course, today is crunch time, and we'll be starting off our last day of regular play with a battle for seventh between Evil Geniuses and Complexity.
And then Dig will take on LMQ, followed by Curse versus TSM, and Evil Geniuses facing off against LMQ.
And barring any tiebreakers, we will draw our split to a close with Cloud9 battling it out with CLG, aka the Expendables. So now we want to jump over to Twitter and get your thoughts. All weekend long, the CLG sub-roster has been having fun and putting forth a really great effort on the Rift.
Yeah, there's been a few names for this team. One of them has been Hotshot and Friends, another one's Bizarro CLG, and also Hotshot and the GGs.
So today we're asking, what nickname would you give to the CLG substitute roster and why?
Send your answers to @LOL Esports and use the hashtag LCS. We'll be combing through to find a few choice responses and read them later in the show. And you never know, maybe yours will be the one that sticks.
As always, you can find the schedule on lolesports.com and weigh in on which teams you think will win today's matches. Just click on schedule and start locking in your picks.
And with Worlds just around the corner, you can start brushing up on your international team knowledge with player profiles, stats, and box scores.
All right, we're going to take a quick break while Evil Geniuses and Complexity load in for our first match of the day. The action gets underway when we come back.